The cabinet's emergency huddle. Whispers of war and White House wobbles on December 2, 2025. Oh, darlings. If you thought the drama in this clown car administration had peaked with last night's 4-hour Truth Social screamfest, where the orange tyrant finger-banged his keyboard into oblivion over Michelle Obama's imaginary autopen heist and Mark Kelly's treasonous spine, well, honey. Today is serving up a fresh platter of panic that's got the entire Beltway buzzing like a hive of caffeinated hornets, because at 11:30 a.m. sharp on this chilly December 2, 2025, he's herded every last one of his hand-picked sycophants into the cabinet room for what the insiders are already leaking as an emergency meeting. That's not on the public calendar, but might as well come with a flashing red siren and a side of smelling salts. And I'm telling you right now, this isn't some routine pat-on-the-back session where they circle jerk over stock market highs or his latest golf handicap. No. This is the kind of all-hands scramble that screams, something big is coming. Probably a Hail Mary play to slap a Band-Aid on the Venezuela boat strike scandal that's got Congress baying for Pete Hegseth's scalp, and the Caribbean boiling hotter than a pot of gumbo left on the stove too long. Picture it, because I've got my sources, those wide-eyed Hill staffers who text me at dawn with decaf in hand, and they're painting a scene straight out of a bad spy thriller where the Oval Office turns into a war room overnight. With the orange tyrant pacing those gold-flecked carpets in his too-long red tie, barking orders at aides who look like they've aged a decade since the inauguration, all because that Washington Post bombshell from yesterday dropped like a depth charge, confirming not one but 2 strikes on those so-called Venezuelan drug boats back on September 2, the first one turning a fishing vessel into driftwood confetti and killing a dozen innocents who were just trying to haul in snapper for supper. And the second, get this, mopping up the survivors like it was a cleanup on Isle Apocalypse, with missiles and gunships making sure no loose ends could paddle back to Caracas with tales of American overkill. Ha! And now the White House is spinning it as lawful defensive action. While Hegseth, that Fox News refugee turned defense secretary who's more tattoo than tactician, posts on X defending his hero, Admiral Mitch Bradley, like they're auditioning for a bromance biopic. But the leaks say this meeting is where they huddle to figure out how to dodge the subpoenas flying from Hakeem Jeffries and the House oversight ghouls who want the full strike footage unredacted. Because nothing says transparency like classifying body counts as national security secrets. You know, I've been watching this administration like a hawk with a migraine since day one, and let me tell you, calling this an emergency feels like the understatement of the year, especially when you layer on the fresh stink from that D.C. National Guard shooting last week, where 2 troops got gunned down by some Afghan vet with a grudge, prompting the orange tyrant to slam the brakes on asylum apps from certain countries faster than you can say, Muslim ban 2.0. And now the cabinet's got to nod along while he rants about pausing migration forever to recover the system, which is just his polite way of saying he wants to build that wall taller than his ego and electrify the Rio Grande with the voltage of his late-night grudges. But oh, the whispers from my grapevine are juicier. They're saying this huddle isn't just damage control on the double-tap drownings in the Caribbean. It's a full-spectrum freakout over Maduro thumbing his nose from Caracas, threatening to rally the whole OAS against us for turning international waters into a kill zone, and the orange tyrant, fresh off a secret Sunday phone call with that mustachioed strongman he claims to despise but low-key admires, might be gearing up to announce ground options, you know. Boots on the ground in Venezuela to finish the job. Because why stop at boat barbecues when you can invade for oil and optics, all while his national security team, those holdovers from the first term who still wake up screaming from the January 6 flashbacks, try to talk him off the ledge without getting fired on the spot. Ha ha ha. Can you imagine the room right now, that long mahogany table groaning under the weight of egos bigger than the national debt, with Mike Pompeo droning on about regime change like it's his personal hobby horse, Pam Bondi nodding furiously in her AG chair as if she's not the one who greenlit firing those interim prosecutors last week, and Hegseth fidgeting with his dog tags, sweating bullets because Jeffries already branded him a liar for a living on the House floor yesterday, demanding he testify under oath about who exactly authorized turning survivors into shark snacks. Was it the Oval, or was it some rogue SEAL team op gone viral? The orange tyrant, of course, kicks it off with his patented monologue, probably clocking in at 45 minutes of meandering mastery where he brags about how the strikes were the greatest takedown of narco-terror since the Medellin days. Even though no drugs washed up, just life jackets and lamentations, then pivots to roasting the fake news for focusing on a few bad hombres. Instead of his genius at keeping America safe, all while the cameras roll for C-SPAN, because nothing says confidence like live streaming your crisis confab. And I bet you a crisp Benjamin that by the end, every cabinet head lines up to kiss the ring with praise that's as scripted as a WWE promo. Gushing about how his leadership is tremendous and unprecedented, even as their eyes dart to the exits wondering if this is the meeting where he floats firing the Fed chair again, or slaps death penalty mandates on DC jaywalkers. And let's not forget the elephant in the room, or should I say the orange orangutan swinging from the chandelier, because this all lands on the heels of his health memo debacle, where Dr. Riener called out that perfect MRI for the smoke screen it is, with the White House insisting it's all preventative while the nation wonders if those swollen ankles are from Venice issues or just the weight of all these scandals piling up like unpaid tabloids. Yell it louder for the people in the back. This emergency powwow is the orange tyrant's way of rallying the troops before the 2 p.m. Roosevelt Room bombshell that teased announcement on Trump accounts, which my spies swear is some half-baked crypto scheme to fund his deportation dreams, or maybe a slush fund for pardoning Honduran ex-presidents like Juan Orlando Hernandez, who just got his get-out-of-jail-free card courtesy of Mar-a-Lago Mercy, because nothing screams drain the swamp. Like commuting sentences for strongmen who mirror your own tin pot fantasies. It's all connected, folks, this web of whims where boat strikes bleed into border bans, and cabinet meetings become cover for the chaos, with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner jetting off to Moscow today for Putin peace talks on Ukraine that feel more like surrender negotiations. Because why not outsource foreign policy to real estate bros while the real estate in Caracas heats up to invasion temps? I mean, come on, the man's been in office not even a year into this second act, and he's already turning the Situation Room into a situation comedy, where the punchline is always, but the polls say he's winning, even as Democrats like Kelly and Bain gear up for midterms by hammering home how his tough on crime, SH-tick just means tough on civilians, whether they're fishing off Curaçao or fleeing floods in Tegucigalpa. The leaks from inside say tensions are sky-high, with some cabinet holdouts, those careerists who snuck in under the radar, whispering about resignation drafts in their desk drawers. Because who wants their name on the memo greenlighting a sequel strike that turns a regional spat into a full-blown fiasco, especially when Maduro's already closing airspace and rallying Lula and the BRICS crew to sanction us right back? Ha! It's almost poetic, this rush to huddle before the holiday recess, like the orange tyrant senses the walls closing in from the Hegseth hearings and the HABA hearings, and every other hearing that's got his DOJ looking like a sieve, and so he calls everyone in to remind them who's boss. Who's the only one who can fix it, who's got the best words and the biggest crowds, even if those crowds are mostly paid actors, and the words are mostly wind. You know, in all my years of calling out this circus, and trust me, I've got the calluses from clapping back at the trolls, this feels like the pivot point, the moment where the bluster meets the blowback and we see if his yes men have the guts to push back or if they'll just applaud the apocalypse. Because something big is indeed coming, whether it's a preemptive pardon spree or oppressor promising peace through pulverization, and the whole world's holding its breath while I pour the tea straight, no chaser. Oh, the irony of it all, a man who rails against deep state plots now plotting in plain sight, turning governance into a group therapy session for his grievances. And I can't help but laugh through the fury, because if this is leadership, then my morning coffee runs the country better. Mark my words, by sundown we'll know if it's war drums or just more smoke, but either way, the cabinet's emerging grayer, the stakes higher, and the orange tyrant no closer to acting like the adult in the room he never was. MAGA, please note, I was not talking to you and I do not need permission to speak up. And God, do I fearlessly speak my mind. I just want to thank you all, like, share, and follow to stay connected. I am Santiago del Carmen Maria, the Queen of Crowning Thoughts, because I say it like it is. Crowning Thoughts, True Speaker, copyright 2025 by Santiago DC Maria, is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share, alike 4.0 International.